Welcome back to Eat and Talk, everyone. It's Yusra again.
And I'm Gilbert, and we're back with another episode of Eat and Talk.
Yeah, so this is our final interview for today. We had some great lineups. I'm excited to end off with my brothers today. I have Muhammad Sharif and Ismail. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get into it. So go ahead.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Muhammad Sharif. I'm from the Cedarside community in South Minneapolis. Currently attend Augsburg University as a political science student.
Go Augies.
Go Augies for sure. I'm an author, an artist. I do a lot of community activism. I'm just here to have a good time.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, I'm Ishmael. What's going on? I recently just graduated from Augsburg, and I also have a clothing brand called Underdawg, and it's streetwear basically off of building yourself as a minority, so everyone goes through a struggle in their life, and everyone also feels down in their life compared to the other person next to them. So why not try to push that through clothes and show people, oh, this is how I feel, this is what I'm representing as an underdog. So that's what I'm trying to push with my clothing brand.
That's amazing. And, you modeled for him for Underdog, so that's why.
You guys need a model, let me know.
Yeah, I got you, definitely.
Got some stuff. We'll get some close-ups to this, but we're going to talk to you first, Muhammad, and then we'll dive in because you guys both share the same passion when it comes to community, uplifting our community and representing. And so, first of all, we have this book called Window Pane, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited. Let's just get into it. What made you, what got you into writing, and what got you to create this book for us?
Yeah, so, doing this book was definitely a journey. It spanned over years, but I started writing probably end of my 8th grade year, beginning of my freshman year. Just as an outlet. I never in a million years thought I would write a book or perform in front of people or share my art, but that's what it started out as, just as an outlet to be emotional, to be myself, to get things out, because just as men we can attest to the fact that it gets difficult to be able to discuss things with people.
We were just
100%.
talking about that.
100%.
And that isn't really, especially in our community, it isn't something that's open, that's free, and it's accessible. So writing was definitely a way for me to do that. I love art. I wanted to be a rapper, but that's in our community with our dean, whatever it may be, it's kind of difficult to do that. But I've always had a love for words. So I've been writing,
so these
kind
are
of honing
poems,
my skills. It's poetry.
Wow.
But end of 2018, when I graduated high school, I decided I wanted to write a book. All of 2018, I kind of dilly-dallied, slacked off. 2019, I kind of slacked off. I wrote some pieces here and there. But I think when quarantine started, it gave me the time to just kind of hunker down and actually do it. It's a collection of poems that express my experiences in life and the experiences of the people that I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to meet and get to know and fall in love with. And it's just kind of expresses life and just going through it, the emotions of it, from love and happiness to sadness and joy. That's the book as it is.
That's awesome.
It's really, really put together. One thing that stands out to me is like you put the window pane in the middle of the book, the title of the book.
Yeah.
It has a poem to go with it. So
it does. That's one of my favorites as well. And on the cover is
Windows.
one of the buildings that I grew up in the Cedarside community. So when I moved to America, that's the first place that I lived, and that's where I've lived for the majority of my life. But on top of it, there's a little silhouette, and that silhouette is to represent the inner me, the kid in me. And those buildings were my world, so I just wanted to be on top of my world for once, and just inspire people to be on top of their own worlds and to do their own things too. But it was a lot of fun to do. Yeah.
I could definitely relate. My dad's mom, my grandma, Alana Harisa, may she rest in peace, passed away in 2018. But since we moved to America as well from Canada, she lived in Cedar, so I spent my whole life, all summers and weekends there. So it was my second home, and it's amazing to see how things have shifted and transferred. And my passion always has been to stay connected to that place. Even if I move to the other side of the world, Cedar will always have a place in my heart. So window pane, what is that about?
So it's kind of a double entendre, in the sense that there's a window pane. So when the physical window pane, when you open the window, when you're looking through it, right? And then there's the pain that you feel and that you see through the window. So it's just a window into my life and a window into what I've experienced. And in the book, there's a poem titled Pain. And I kind of express it as pain isn't really a thing that should scare us or stop us, but it's a thing that God inflicts on us to help us grow and to mold us and to make us stronger. So that's kind of the whole synopsis of like why I named it Window Pane. Yeah.
So that goes because we are able to see the book.
You
guys are not able to see the book, but the thing about this book is I see you have pictures to go with the poem. So how do you select the pictures to go with the poem? Because for example, you have a basketball court, and then for the I looked up the one that says pained. So how did you get
how do you
illustration?
correlate it?
Yeah, so shout out to Jof. He's from Ohio. He's he does a lot of different things, but he is the publicist or the person that kind of helped me put this book together. And he also did the majority of the illustrations in there as well. And he helped make the cover, a lot of different things, but he's very talented, so shout out to him. But they're also, a lot of the pictures are also inspirations from drawings that my younger siblings did. So like when we're at home and you're just bored, like we used to draw a lot and just like compare each other's art. And art is something that's very a part of the Cedar Riverside community, and every household inside that community as well. So every picture just kind of helps people, visualize the poem and see it as well. But I didn't want to make it very blunt and very straight. I wanted people to just see it how they see it and see it through their own life and their own lens too.
I like the fact that you have space, so if someone is reading the book, they can probably illustrate. That helps.
Jot things down. Yep.
I usually ask people like during the pandemic, and you said during the pandemic is when you decided to sit down and write this book.
Yeah.
So what were some of the obstacles that you overcame while?
Man, there was a lot. So I started out with 300 poems total, and I had to kind of cut it down from 300 to I think 38 or 36 poems that are in there. So I had to first find a direction for the book. What did I want the book to be about? Where did I want it to lead? What kind of sort of poems did I want to be in there? And then just started cutting poems and bringing it down. Another thing that I personally struggled with that I will always advocate for is I have a learning disability, which is dyslexia. So being an author and also being dyslexic, it's and my publicist, Joe Fausto, knows, it was difficult because I would send him a draft and he'd be like, bro, there's like 1 million typos.
That's me.
Yeah. Are you serious right now? Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I can write a whole book and then he has to come out after reading it and doing all the edits.
Exactly.
Like, a page.
Yeah. So I struggled with that too. But it was definitely a journey, and then obviously it's COVID, so there's a lack of motivation. There was just I think that first couple months we all felt that like grogginess of just like, man, I've been inside all day, and I really don't know if I don't want to do this. I'll do this. I don't want to do that. So
at all.
That motivation was difficult, but it's something that I'm passionate about. I love words. I love art. I love expressing myself through words and art. So. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
When did you start expressing yourself through words and art? Like, how old were you when you started writing? And because I grew up with some of my friends who were dyslexic, and it was very they had anxiety picking up a pencil because they just felt like nothing would be correct. So how did you grow that confidence and get into this?
I actually hated reading. I hated writing. I hated books, and I hated poetry. I couldn't stand it because honestly, because that was when I was younger, like middle school. Because it was just like if like reading is the most difficult thing, then poetry is like it's times 10. So
Shakespeare.
So it was something I never really like thought I would be into. But I was always a vocal person, a very talkative person, like for Ish and Mr. You know me, like I'm very good at like speaking, public speaking, whatever it may be. So I was always passionate about that. But in 8th grade, a teacher of mine kind of challenged me because throughout school I had that blessing of like teachers that were actually there for me and that actually nurtured me and cared about me. And a lot of black kids don't get that. When they do have a learning disability, it's kind of dismissed and it's kind of pushed aside and it's said, oh, you're being lazy or you don't want to learn or you don't care about school. So he kind of pushed me to be the best version of myself, and he challenged me to write. And I realized that I kind of had a knack for it. I was getting kind of good at it, and then I would perform at open mics, spoken word, and it became a thing that I just kind of fell in love with, and it gave me that outlet. Because growing up in the community that I grew up in, there's a lot of stuff that happens, from like losing friends to gun violence, to beautiful things that happen, like milestones in the community, making leaps and bounds within the Somali community, having people from within your community do great things, like become representatives, become Olympic athletes. So writing gave me the space to express all of that. Yeah.
That's amazing. And we were talking about this earlier with our last interview, is being vulnerable. As men, you guys have your pride and your ego and don't like to show emotion. And poetry is considered a sensitive thing if you write it,
100%.
But how have you impacted your peers and like your brothers, and has this, made a change in those around you live about being more open and content and more prone to their feelings?
Yeah, it's difficult. And it's really hard for men to, because there isn't that space. There was never that space. I think like when you're a kid, you're growing up, you're taught that, hey, you're a man, you're grown, men don't cry, boys don't do this, boys don't do that. So that, I think that in itself led me to do poetry, because it was a private thing, but when I became more vocal with it, there's guys that tell me like, bro, I don't read poetry, I don't care for poetry, but like I feel your words, I feel what you're talking about, because it's from a lens and it's from a perspective of just being vulnerable and being honest, and it talks about things that normally in poetry people don't talk about, from like gun violence to like falling in love and growing up in a hood and things like that. Like being a refugee, all those different things. So it's inspired people in the sense that like I'm somebody that looks like them, that acts like them, that walks like them, is from the same area as them. And they're like, hey, I can relate to this guy, and he's able to be vulnerable and he's able to express himself. Maybe I should try a little bit of that. And I think at the end of the day, it can't just be me. It has to be a community thing where we do open space for Black men to be vulnerable and to express themselves. And if they're dealing with things like depression and anxiety, to go out and seek help for it.
Yeah, and so that's going to go on to my next topic. That's actually how we met, I think, was we were doing a video to talk about, we met during a time where gun violence was always an issue in our community, but this was a time where we lost like brothers back to back to back, and we wanted to make a difference. So let's talk about that and how that impacted you as a person growing up, losing people, seeing people come and go, and what have you done to, or what efforts have you put in for outreach in those matters?
So gun violence, I think, occurs in a lot of different communities all over the U.S. And it isn't unique to our specific community down in Cedar Riverside. But I think that, like we both expressed, during that time, it was very difficult because, one, it's a very new thing to us in our community. Like we're the first generation, so everything that happens is a first, so we have to be those pioneers and those trailblazers that deal with it. But I think that the best and the most beautiful thing that we've done so far is we've built that community. And that's something that I strive for and that I go out for every single day. And building community can be as big as like opening centers and doing fundraisers and doing basketball tournaments, to as small as, there's kids that hit me up and that, a friend of theirs died from an overdose, or they themselves are going through a drug addiction, or a friend of theirs has passed away due to gun violence, and they're sending me poems and they're saying, hey bro, what do you think about this? I'm writing this down. And even like guys like Ish, he can help kids express themselves through art and through fashion, which is an actual thing that like guys can do, you know what I'm saying? Putting things on shirts, putting sayings on shirts, expressing themselves through those different things. Inshallah, it's going to get better. It isn't the face of our community. It isn't what our community is. Exactly. It's something that happens, time and time again too often. And building community is honestly the best way that we can combat that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Let's shift into
I know,
Underdawg.
right?
And see,
Yeah.
that's a
We'll
beautiful
come back
way
to you,
look at
man.
it.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Underdog now.
So I want
Yeah.
to know, when did you start this? What does Underdawg mean? Tell us about
Yeah.
it.
So to be honest, I had the thought for Underdog about 2 years ago. So I was going to Augsburg and
Shout out to Augsburg.
yeah, you already-
Augsburg
Graduated from
graduate.
Augsburg.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Let's go.
Augsburg.
Yeah. So I'd show these guys, like some of my homies, like a design I'd make, or like I had, so my original design of the logo would be from my cousin, not my cousin, sorry, my friend. He does drawings, he does graphic design, all that stuff. And I was like, yo, I have an image for my brand and the name is Underdog.
Yeah.
Try to help me create an image. So like, if you would go to her picture, that was the first image that he helped me with. And that was the image of the dog right there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the image he helped me with. And so basically the message I'm trying to send is that no matter what in life, you can push yourself
Yeah,
to
we
always
interviewed
prevail.
him.
Yeah, Antoine, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
boy. We went to AR together, that's my boy. But yeah, so basically you could push yourself no matter in like any outcome, any scenario, any situation, to never feel like you're the only one at the bottom, that you don't know how to get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Because you always can. It just takes, maybe it'll probably take you slower than the next person next to you, but you can get to it at the end of the day. So always want to prevail.
Yeah.
I need a hoodie. I need that hoodie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
really
got
cool.
one?
Yeah,
Car or
it's on
something?
the site, Underdog Dash. You feel me?
No, that's awesome. And so
Yeah.
it took you 2 years. So kind of like, what was your inspiration behind it? Like, what made you finally wake up and like, I'm gonna put this to life is the idea, but I want to make sure that
Yeah.
people are rocking it.
So like kind of the same situation as everyone else. Starting something is during COVID. I graduated.
All of us,
I was doing an internship, but I had a lot of free time because it was remote.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there like, I have all this free time every day, at least like 5 hours I'm not doing nothing. So I might as well just do something, like do and start my business, because I always wanted to, because I was always doing e-commerce and drop shipping. But then I was like, I might as well just translate into my brand and just push myself. Yeah, so that's what I did with COVID. So it took me that summer to like put out a plan, build the website, try to learn how to market better, and then I finally pushed it and I dropped it October.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So it's not easy starting a business, especially like when you're a black man.
Yeah.
What are some obstacles that you face, and how did you get through it?
So as a black man, so you see brands majorly ran by white people, and you see like, oh, they have the idea of, they know what we want to wear, but like they just see trends and they just start pushing them.
Yeah.
So like I was thinking to have the if they have that image that they could just push this stuff, how am I gonna show? They already have the name, so how am I gonna show Underdog is better than the next the person that already started 5 years ago, 6 years ago? So that's an obstacle right now. So I really, to be honest, look at different brands and I try to see how I can transfer into Underdog, and not copy and paste, but
It's dope.
you feel me?
I love the
I like
website.
the
Yeah.
website.
Fresh.
You did
Yeah.
it with the website.
This is really cool.
Yeah,
This is really
it's right there. You want
nice.
that sweater, right? It's right
Yeah.
there.
I didn't even know you had different colors.
Yeah.
The purple
Yeah,
was
everything.
hard.
Yeah.
So
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No.
Oh, okay, so I just dropped that purple one. It comes with multiple.
Also,
Back real
I was
quick.
gonna say the purple is nice.
Yeah, that purple
There's
is
multiple
really
colors. I literally just did that like 2 days ago.
Okay, the white.
Yeah.
I can wear that.
Light pink.
Is that light pink?
Yeah.
I like that you got a dog and he like
Yeah.
represents like black
Yeah.
and power.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Trying to push
Royal
the image.
blues.
So
Yeah.
it goes to do you get a lot of support from your own peers too? Or
Yeah,
do you think your
definitely.
peers lack?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that actually.
Yes.
So our peers,
Yeah.
I feel like I love our community and we do support each other and that's like how we grow. But
Yeah.
at the same time we also like put each other down and
Yeah.
we don't get as much support. Like you'll see someone buying from,
Man.
Yeezys before they buy,
Yeah.
your sweaters.
Yeah.
So tell me, how have you been marketing and how have you been trying to get the attention of our community and our people, because you made this for them, you know?
Yeah.
So what have you been trying to do to stand out?
So basically, to try and to answer the first part of your question, how I feel about our community choosing the other option of paying $500 instead of you can support your homie and pay $40 for a sweater,
Mm-hmm.
So how I see it is that why they're buying that is because it's the trend and like they're gonna look cool outside wearing it. Like if you see me wearing a Dior shirt with some Dior shoes, you'd be like, oh, he has money. But then if you see him right now wearing Underdawg, you're like, oh, what is that? You know? But like you can't see it as a level of, oh, they're not supporting you, is they don't see it right now. So once they do see it, you're gonna push that through. You feel me? So no matter, even though you see like, oh, damn, you're my homie, but you didn't buy nothing right now.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna buy it eventually. You feel me? So I'm not tripping about it.
That inspires me. I think I might as well just start wearing local brands now.
That's what I try to do.
As much as I can, definitely. So what advice do you guys have to, there's, a lot of 20-year-olds, 20, just, the younger, the youth in general, and they want to do something and start their own brand. So what advice do you have for them to get started? Now that's for both of you guys.
You want to start?
I would say reach out. Reach out. Ask around, figure things out. I think I reached out to you when I wanted to, start making clothes as well. And to kind of branch off what you said earlier, I think inspiration is a very, very, very big thing. Nip says like the highest human act is to inspire, So I think if we inspire one another and uplift one another in terms of just buying each other's merch, books, clothes, do-rags, whatever it may be, I think that's going to push our community so much further. Definitely. But reaching out is also important because when I wanted to do my book, I had no clue how to do a book. I've never done a book before. I just reached out to guys like Chowder that's done a poetry book before. I was like, yo, give me the blueprint, bro. How do I do this? And he's to do this, do that, do this. But he also told me things like where he messed up or where he made mistakes, he passed that down to me. And then now, if a kid wants to come to me and say, hey, I'm into this. I want to make poetry books. I want to, tell the world about my art. How do I do that? Now I can tell him, hey, do this, do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. That's where I made some mistakes. So the best advice that I can give is to just reach out and network.
I like that.
Yeah. And to go off of it, so basically, in a sense, when I first started, I didn't have no one to go to and be like, yo, how do I do this? How do I put this into that? So reaching out is the biggest key because in anything, it doesn't even have to be a book or a clothing brand. It could be like you're just trying to sell anything that means good, like something to you, And reaching out, like one of my homies, Wisdom and Sal, they have a company, Top Figure, and they do marketing and they also drop ship. And basically what I'm doing with my merch is drop shipping my clothes. And so I reached out to them and I was like, yo, I have this idea, but I honestly don't know how to start it. Can you help me out? I grew up with Wisdom. He's like, yeah, why not? Like, if I didn't make that step, I'd still be stuck at ground one,
Do you think, I feel like sometimes people are scared to reach out because reaching out sometimes comes with a price.
It does.
Do you think that stops a lot of people from
It does. It's that and it's pride too.
Oh,
and I can attest to that. I have a lot of pride. I don't like asking for help.
Me too.
I hate asking for help, but that's part of growth. That's a part of growth, just putting that aside and be like, you know what, I'm gonna have to put that to the side and be vulnerable and go ask. Sometimes people aren't gonna help you. People are gonna be like, yo, I want to do the same things that you're doing. You're a competition. I'm not gonna help you. And and that's okay. Like, you on to the next, you feel me? But I think being vulnerable and putting your pride to the side will definitely help you reach out.
Yeah, and I think I can relate to that too, because that's something that we started doing too on our end, is reaching out to other brands and all that stuff to see where this. I feel like we can all support each other.
Definitely.
We can always, like you said, it doesn't have to be in a book. It doesn't have to be about clothes. It's just reaching out and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Do you think your work before is helping you right now?
Definitely, because I wouldn't know how to build a site. I wouldn't know how to market it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to reach out to influencers to wear my clothes. All that literally translated just switching the product into my clothes instead of selling bottles or like cosmetics or anything. Yeah.
So what's next for you guys? Like, where do you guys see yourselves in the next couple of years? Like, where do you envision Underdawg? Do you want to open another brand after this? And then for you too, are you going to give us another book? You said something about some clothes. I bought a couple shirts from you. I love them because each shirt that you have, both of you guys, like it's something that I can resonate with, that I can relate to, that underlies with like my community, like my beliefs. So that's what's up. So what's next for you guys?
So to be honest, at like short term right now, I'm releasing a spring collection next month.
Okay.
And thank you, man. Thank you. And then long term, I want to have my own store in that sense of streetwear. So not just clothes. I'm trying to have streetwear, shoes. I'm trying to have accessories and all, you know. And then down the line, I'm trying to switch it to from Underdawg into activewear as well, because I work out and I do like activities, you know. Yeah. So I'm trying to do activewear as well on top of that. Okay. It's like a Gymshark kind of vibe.
Can you do an Underdawg hair resume too?
Whatever's gonna make money, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Whatever's gonna make money.
That's awesome. How about you?
Yeah, I need right now. I do plan on getting into clothes as well. Me and a few of my friends. There's bumps and there's bruises in the road, and there's a lot of as you know. Clothes is not easy.
It's not easy
because there's a lot of things, and when you have a vision and when you want to make something happen, you want it to be like how you thought of it in your head. But yeah, I want to get into fashion for sure. So hopefully, inshallah, by summer, there's gonna be a line out that me and my friends did. In terms of books, I want to write a novel next, inshallah. I won't make it too long.
A little spacey.
I love reading, so make it long.
Yeah, make it audio. Yeah,
it's like I listen to it.
Audiobook would be definitely nice. Yeah, but other than that, long term, inshallah, finish school, open up some businesses. You know, get into a lot of different things. Maybe start a podcast.
That would be great. So honestly, you're right. And just to rewind a little bit, because you mentioned it, like how you had like your friends help you and you give advice. I want to talk about like mentorship real quick. How important do you think mentorship is when you're an entrepreneur or anything that you do? And do you guys have mentors that you look up to?
Yeah, I think mentorship is everything, honestly. I know what it feels like to be stuck and to not know what's going on, and to be like, I wish I had just like one person that's in this industry that can just like, and I think Ish is a hustler, I'm a hustler, I think both y'all are hustlers. We don't need to be like grabbed by the hand and showed everything. We just need somebody to set us on that right path.
Show us the path,
and in the white community, a lot of those kids have tons of access to that all the time. They're like handed mentors and mentorships, and for us, it's constantly like, we feel lost. We feel like, what do I do? How do I get this started? So for me,
do you think that again, like that's where pride comes in? Is it because we lack asking, or is it because we don't have those resources?
Oh no, I think the resources are there. I think there's first a lack of connection, right? Because like there's obviously black doctors, there's obviously black actors, black authors, black designers, but Virgil Abloh is not in the hood. Virgil Abloh is in a mansion in LA. You know, he's not. I mean, as far as I know, you know what I'm saying. So I think that disconnect is there in the sense that like, the person at the top of the top isn't coming back to the hood and telling kids, this is how I did this and that. So that's definitely important for me, and I think it's definitely important for Ish to like do things with ourselves and make it big and come back and help out as much people as we can.
100%.
Can you make it exclusive merch for the cover?
Yeah, that's a great idea. But to bounce off that, I'm gonna steal that. To bounce off that, I want to give a quick shout out to my boys, Torreson at We Art. I don't know, is there like if I can show them? I don't know. We're
gonna take pictures.
Yeah, we'll take pictures. But there's gonna be merch for the book as well. So long sleeve shirts, sweaters, sweatpants. That kind of just bounce off the idea of windows and window pane and being a vulnerable person on clothes. White tee with the
You guys are fire. Maybe thinking in the future any pop-ups.
Yeah. So
I'm writing all this down.
Shout out to my guy Fahad. I reached out to him and we're trying to work something out at Hibachi Kicks. And inshallah something. Inshallah something. And I'm hitting local stores that do shoes and all that kind of stuff to do a pop-up shop. Waiting for replies, to be honest. But we're gonna keep pushing it.
We can connect you guys with some
I got something. We'll keep in touch.
Definitely.
Okay, bet.
I got something cooking up. We should do our own pop-up shop.
What you saying? I'm down.
Got you.
Eat and talk loud. So I guess we like to end with just one final piece of, what advice would you like to give to anyone who's watching this? Kind of touched up on this a little bit earlier, but just like your final thoughts.
So I'd say always push forward and never get comfortable in the situation you're in, because like I could have just stopped at releasing my first drop and just try to make as much money as I can and just be done, you know. But like there's no purpose in it. Just if it's just for the money, you know. I'm trying to get money, but yes, I'm trying to show my image. So all I would say is you have to do is believe in yourself and always push and never get comfortable. That's what I'd say.
Absolutely, I love that. Okay, go.
I would say just be better than you were yesterday.
Let's go.
I think that we're in a time and a space in our lives right now where we're doing a lot of different things. We're trying to like cement ourselves. We're in our like early 30s, early 20s. That time frame is when we get after the world and we try to be as big as we can. Take the biggest risk. Yeah, take the biggest risk. And we get caught up in all that, and we get caught up in comparing ourselves to other people and social media, and am I good enough, and am I doing it right, and all of that. And I struggled with that too. So the best advice that I can give is just be better than you were yesterday. You know, you don't need to build a house in one day. Just lay a brick, and lay that brick the best you can, and do it 10,000 times more, and eventually you'll see a whole crib there that looks really nice. But yeah, just be better than you were yesterday. Yeah.
That's a good one, man.
I love
That's
that.
definitely a good one.
So positive way to end it. I mean, we're like we said, we love to have everybody come back at some point just to see the progress, what you've done next. So maybe we'll holler at you during your springtime and when you get your clothes, and so we'll make sure we get some pictures of both of your merch and everything. But thank you guys both for coming. I already was like skimming through the pages and I'm like, this is amazing. So
if he blow up, when he blow up,
I love it. And where can people buy this?
Oh, that's probably a good idea to share. So the link for my book is it's in my Instagram bio. So my Instagram is Sharif SHARIF _ Muhammad. That's my Instagram. It's in the bio, and you can order it, and I'll ship it out to you.
I like it. And Underdawg got their website, so we'll link that as well. So this is awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. This is great. I loved it, and we'll make sure that we link everything at the bottom of the page.